Hi everyone, it's me again, Kerry from Empower, another member spotlight for you today. So I'm joined by one of our business club members, Indra. So, hi Indra. What
Hi, Kerry. How are
do you do?
you?
Really good, thanks. Can you tell me a bit about what you do?
Yes, definitely. So I am a GP, and I decided probably about 5 or 6 years ago, as I was going through my own health challenges and burnout and stress and things, that I needed to leave general practice. And I always thought that I knew that medicine was the right thing for me, but after going through all the challenges that I went through, I thought maybe I needed to leave. So I left and I started an interior design course, completely left field, and did something completely different and really enjoyed that. But realized that medicine was the right thing for me, but just needed to find a different way to do what I was doing. So I was introduced to an approach to medicine called functional medicine, and it absolutely blew my mind. And out of learning about it and going to the course and getting the understanding that I had, I just decided that I would start my own practice. So I started up Dr. Indra Functional Medicine GP 5 years ago, and it's kind of grown from there. So what we do at the practice is that we are looking at why people are getting unwell and what is the root cause for illness, rather than necessarily just treating the symptoms that people are presenting with. So it's really fascinating, so rewarding, and so amazing to see patients getting better.
Yeah, so how did you, going way back, how did you get into, did you always know you wanted to be a GP?
I kind of always knew I wanted to be a doctor.
Right.
Right at the beginning, I kind of thought paediatrics was the thing for me because I loved kids and did lots of things with kids and did a pediatric sort of. I worked in a peds ward doing like play for the kids and stuff like that when I was younger. So I thought pediatrics was the way that I wanted to go. But through my training, I realized that I needed to have a little bit more balance. And I think hospital work was not going to be the right thing for me. So general practice seemed the best option. And I absolutely fell in love with it. Just the privilege of, being part of somebody's health journey and being able to support their whole family and having that continuity to see people, get better, then get, and everything. So absolutely loved being a general practitioner. No, definitely.
Yeah. So how long were you a GP, did you say?
I'm still a GP, but not in the
Yeah.
conventional sense. I qualified in 1997.
Right, okay.
That's when I finished med school, and so became a GP in 2001. So nearly 20 years. Wow, that's a long time being a doctor.
And so you mentioned the challenges that you had and burnout, and can you go into that a little bit
Oh
more?
no, definitely. I think we need to be open about this, the mental health challenges that we're all experiencing, and the connection with the physical challenges that kind of come from that. And as a practice, what happened was that we just struggled to recruit enough people to support. So I was left trying to support the patients and the staff, and it just became really, really overwhelming. And I struggled, and I ended up being admitted to hospital with chest pain.
Right.
And I just thought, they're going to tell me it's stress. We never really acknowledge stress as being a bad thing. We always just think, oh, it's stress, don't worry about it. So I ended up in hospital, and they said, you're going to have to stay in bed. We're going to do 2 blood tests. We're going to check your heart. And I think you're going to need some heart investigations. And there and then I said, right, I need to stop. That
Yeah.
was my thing to
That
say.
turning point of
Turning point. I was like, well, look, I was in my 40s and people are investigating my heart. What in the world is going on here?
yeah,
And that's when I sort of said, right, I need to leave. And looking back, I think I realized that I wasn't really happy in the way I was supporting patients anyway. I mean, one of the stories I tell is about running a clinic for people with diabetes and having to prescribe medications for these patients. And every time they would come back in for a review, I was increasing their medication. And I was like, what's going on? You know, why, what else are we not looking at here? And I remember having to prescribe this tablet that would help the blood sugars, but would cause the patient to have thrush. So then I was like, okay, I'm treating one thing, but then it's causing something else. I'm missing something here.
Yeah.
That's when I started understanding about the lifestyle side of things and how nutrition can impact and how stress can impact and sleep and movement. So I started asking my patients, you know, what does it mean to you to have this kind of condition? They're like, nothing. Have you changed anything? No. And I was like, okay, we're not doing things right. There's something not right. And that kind of made me realize that what I wanted to do as a doctor isn't what I was able to do within the setting of the general practice. And that's not for everybody, but for me, that's what I experienced.
Yeah. So you've got this practice now.
Yeah.
How do all those things that were affecting you around burnout and the challenges you were having and the stress, are they different now? It's your own thing, or do you find that you maybe still have some of those things creeping in?
I think for me, one of the things that I heard when I went to a conference recently or a while ago, a few years ago, there was something called moral injury. So when it doesn't resonate with you, what you are doing, it causes you pressure on your body. Right. Now, because everything I do really resonates with who I am, there's so much ease in what I do. There's still the pressure of obviously looking after patients and that kind of thing, but it just feels different
because with a bit more purpose and belief in the system and what you're doing. And I mean, I still use my conventional training all the time because that's the essence of who I am, but I've got an extra toolkit now, and this extra toolkit can help people who generally have been through everything that the NHS can offer and are still just not feeling right. So that's quite a privilege to be able to say to people, actually, I understand and I'm here to listen and we'll figure this out together. Because one of the biggest changes, I guess, is that I had 10 minutes within the NHS and I now have an hour with a patient. So that... Yeah, absolutely. Never really thought of it like that. Even just that in itself is,
massive.
Significant difference, isn't it, in what you can manage to tell someone about how you're feeling in 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I think we've done a good job, and the GPs are amazing at trying to get down to the essence of it all. But I think a lot of our chronic illnesses come from lifestyle issues, and lifestyle issues need a lot of unpicking.
Yeah. So how do you find when you're seeing your patients or when you're kind of putting your message out there, do people believe in it? Do you have to sort of convert them a bit to thinking that this kind of thing can work? Or
I think there is a swell of lifestyle issues and lifestyle kind of interventions coming through now, and I think there's a lot more doctors, because when I did my course there was only about 30 of us, and I think the couple of years after that there was nearly 200. So it's definitely increased, and then you can see online as well, there's so many more doctors that are really connecting with this way of working. There is a little bit of convincing for some people, and it may not be the right thing for everybody, but I think if people can just have a look and understand the impact of certain things on their body, it empowers them to then make a change for themselves. And I think that's the most important thing. And that's kind of the reason we decided to do the festival, was because we just want to educate as many people as we can, because there are little small steps that everybody can take that can affect their health and well-being. And it doesn't mean that you need to see a practitioner. You don't have to have, massive changes to your nutrition or start running for the marathon or anything like that. It's just small changes. And once you connect with that, for me, it feels like, oh, okay, once I understand that, it makes sense. Because one of the things that I say to people, when, I was saying at the beginning, oh, stress, let's not bother with that. It's fine, let's deal with this, get on with it. Once you start understanding exactly what that stress response does to your body, and I've learned how it stops your digestion, it reduces the acidity in your stomach, your bowels slow down, because what we're doing is getting ready to run, getting ready to run away from a saber-toothed tiger. So if somebody is sitting in chronic stress, they're not going to be able to digest their food. They are going to get indigestion. They are going to get IBS. So it kind of all then makes sense.
Yeah.
So then we're not dismissing it. We're actually acknowledging what that pressure is doing. And that is then working towards the root cause, rather than giving you tablets for IBS or indigestion. Yeah. Let's go further down and let's deal with what this pressure or stress is. Then you're not likely to need the tablets and that kind of
I mean, it makes total kind of logical sense when you say it like that, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's probably, as you say, it's that element of actually admitting the source perhaps, and accepting that it might be more of a mental health issue. There's a bit of a stigma around that, although it's hugely improved, hasn't it, generally? Are you finding that people are typically more open now? I mean, it's got much more kind of media coverage, if you like, this sort of thing.
No, definitely. I think people are more open. And I think, one thing I would say is that mental health and physical health go hand in hand. Yeah. Mental health issues cause physical health issues. Physical health issues cause mental health issues. So you can't really separate them. And that can be quite eye-opening to people, because conventional medicine kind of puts you into little silos of heart problem, stomach problem, mental health issue. But knowing that when your body isn't working right, it is going to affect how your brain works.
Yeah, absolutely. So what about, obviously, the impact of COVID? Have you seen that? Have things changed since the COVID pandemic hit?
I think what has changed, it's a little bit hard to tell whether it was just the natural cycle of the practice and its growth and what we were doing to sort of encourage people to come in to see us and explain what we were doing and things, versus are people more aware of their health now and are looking to find other ways of accessing healthcare. So for us, the first couple of months was a little bit quiet. And then since then, we've had a lot of people approach us to support their health. So if anything, ours is definitely getting busier.
Right. Okay.
So it's been a blessing as well as a
Yeah. So obviously now you're wearing lots of different hats. You're running your own business as well as being the GP. How do you find that?
That is quite the challenge. And I know when I sat down 5 years ago, what I did was, I don't know why I did this. I have no idea, but I just followed my gut. And I sat down, I booked a room in a osteopathic clinic in central Leeds. And I just opened my computer and said, how do I start a business? I have no idea. What is there a checklist somewhere? What do I need? Who do I go to? All of this kind of things. And I've just found it such an exciting journey, because I've found that it's part of my creativity in creating what I want to create. Obviously, we have guidelines and regulations and stuff that we need to follow, but putting my message out there, educating people, connecting with people. And I remember sitting down at that point saying, right, so how many hats do I carry? So, or I wear. So I wear like the CEO hat and the big thinking and where the practice is going to go. Then I have the operations manager kind of hat. It's like, how do we do what we're doing? Then we have the doctor hat. Then we had the marketing hat and all the rest of it. So we've got all of these things. So I actually had to divide my work day or my work week into, right, this is CEO time, this is marketing time, this is, because otherwise it was just getting too much.
Maybe we should actually have hats and I go, right, I'm that now.
It might help us segment what we're doing, isn't it? Just to know. So since then I've got team members now,
right.
who are helping me with doing that. And it can be challenging, and especially as the business grows, you come to that point in business growth where you're not small, but you're also not big. And it's like, that's the point that we're at, where we kind of probably need more staff, but we probably don't have enough of resources to do that. So that's when I carry more hats at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it all falls on you, doesn't it, at the end of the day, really. But I think, if, as you say, if you can get over the challenge of that, and actually it's the excitement of it instead, isn't it? And the learning that you have to constantly do. You know, I mean, as you know, I run my own marketing business as well as being involved in Empower with Tracy. And that's, you know, we've learned so much, this online community. Neither of us had done that before. And now we're experts in it, actually.
Yeah.
You know, and just being open to taking on new things and learning new things and believing that you can do it is probably half the battle, really, isn't it?
And just not also being afraid to fail, because even something that we consider as being fail is actually just an opportunity to learn from. And okay, if that didn't work, find a different way of doing it. And you know, that for me has been really exciting to see. And I think while you were talking, something that came to me, I guess, being a medic, we're constantly learning, things are constantly changing. So actually being a learner is part of who I am. And you know, so I get bored maybe a bit easy, so it's like time to change again.
Yeah, I think often it's a mindset thing for other people, isn't it? Like you say, perhaps it's more natural to you as in your, you know, profession. But I think, yeah, probably other people can think, I can't do that, or that's not me, or I don't know how to do that, I'm set that way. And yeah, just by opening up a little bit and thinking, I'll give it a go, and I can't break it, it's mine anyway, you know. It's something. Yeah, but I think when you're working with others, it's probably slightly different, isn't it? You've got to think about, you know, how it will impact other people. And certainly I'm sure for you, you know, you've hired people, and yeah, it's the well-being of others to think through as well, isn't it?
No, definitely. It's creating a business model that suits you, isn't it? Whether you hire or you're contracted, or what you do with them. And it's been an interesting journey into actually creating my team, because part of what we do is that we hold a weekly, what we call a multidisciplinary team meeting. So all our patients are discussed with all the professionals. So a patient will then get a nutritional input, and it will get a health coaching input. They'll get my input, and then there are 2 other doctors in our team. So actually setting that up in a private sector has been an interesting challenge, because everybody's contracted in. So it's getting that trust and getting that connection, and also being online at the moment. But it seems to be working quite well at the moment.
Yeah, sounds great. So what about Empower then? Obviously you're a business club member. What does Empower do for you and your business?
I think for me, one of the exciting things that I learned about having a business is how important it is to connect with other people. And I never really understood what it was until I kind of was like told, come on, let's go and do some networking. And it absolutely scared the living daylights out of me. I was like, what am I doing? But I thought, well, okay, let's go and have a look and see what happens. I've been to lots of different kinds of meetings and things. And And actually, I love it. I love meeting new people. I love learning about what people are doing, because you never know who you're going to meet. And that's what Empower has done. I've met some amazing people through here. And the last networking group that I went on, I met Nicola, and she's the singer. And I was like, oh, I'm looking for somebody to present my event. She's like, yeah, I can do that. I was like, that would have never happened if it hadn't been for that networking meeting. So yeah, I think it's the benefit that I've found is just having a community that you feel safe, that you can ask any kind of stupid question and you won't necessarily kind of go, what's that? And having a community that's business orientated as well, because we've got a lot of medical communities. I can ask lots of clinical questions, but we don't really have a network of medics that are within the business world.
Sure. Yeah.
And so having all the years of experience that are sitting in that group is yeah, it's fabulous. I need to probably use it a bit more, but it's been good. It's been absolutely amazing.
Brilliant. And what would you say, I suppose, to anyone who's thinking about joining, hasn't made that move yet?
I would say go for it. If it really resonates with you, if you listen to what they're saying, you come to a meeting and you feel good within that community, go for it. You really have nothing to lose, as long as you're willing to engage and take the time to speak to people and kind of put yourself out there a little bit. I think you're going to make friends, you're going to learn lots of new things, and you just don't know who who you might connect with to actually just support your business. And sometimes that's what you need, is that little bit of a support from somebody to go, I like what you're doing, come on, let's see what we can do. So I would say, if you feel comfortable, it makes sense to you, jump in, don't wait.
Great. And you've actually you work with some of the other members, don't you, in your business as well? Obviously, you've met Nicola now, and
yeah, I've worked with Jackie Crawford, and I'm working with Andrea, and Andrea's going to be speaking at the event. And who else? Those are the main ones I can think of at the top of my head at the moment. But yeah,
collaborations all over.
Collaborations, and Tracy's been really great, because I'm thinking of setting up another business, which is a peer support group for doctors. So Tracy's been really good in sort of saying, what you guys are doing, explaining how you're doing, and whether that would fit with what I wanted to do. So yeah, even Tracy's been great, just to get that support and that information that we need to grow and create something new.
Brilliant. Do you want to tell me quickly about the festival? Obviously, it's this weekend, so it might not be all that relevant to talk about in this video as such, but go ahead and tell me about what's happening.
So the festival came around as a way to celebrate 5 years of being in business. I wanted a celebration. I love a good party, but obviously we can't do anything. So it started off as like an online, maybe like a networking, have a glass of something and party kind of thing. And it's just grown from that to a day event where we've brought together some amazing speakers, and we're raising money for 3 causes. So the event is it'll be online, so people can still go and buy it after the event, and they can watch all the amazing speakers. And the 3 causes that we're supporting one is a local Leeds charity called Trust Leeds, and they are actually helping women become more financially independent by networking with them, creating self-reliant groups, and also giving them microloans to start up their own businesses. And one charity called Pan's Pandas, supporting kids with this condition, and another patient partnership called Inoka, which is supporting patients with a very little known cardiac condition. So we're so thrilled with the response, and if people see this and want to go and have a look, it will be on the website. They can access it. The money will still be going to charity for the next 3 months. So come and have a look and find out whether small steps that you learn from our speakers might be able to help your health and well-being.
Thank you, Indra. It's really, really interesting to talk to you about what you do. And yeah, I'll see you over in Empower.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Kerry, for having me.